I don't know how many times I have to say this, and hopefully this will be the last time that I ever have to say this, and hopefully this will be the last time that anyone ever has to say this, but eating carbs does not make you fat. Eating carbs does not cause weight gain.
It doesn't really work like that.
And over the last 34 years of my training and coaching career, I've helped hundreds of people lose weight without having to give up carbs. And actually eating carbs, and I know you're not going to believe this, but actually eating carbs can make it easier for you to lose weight. So no.
That's bullshit.
Eating carbs does not cause you to gain weight, and they don't even make it hard for you to lose weight. But if you're watching this video and your weight's going up, I can promise you that you're probably doing the one thing that I'm going to talk about in today's video that is and will make it hard for you to lose weight or cause you to gain weight. Matter of fact, studies show that 79% of people that have a hard time losing weight do this one thing that I'm going to talk about in today's video every single day. And if your weight's going up, like I said, I can guarantee that you're probably doing it. So in today's video, I'm not only going to share with you what it is, I'm going to talk about what you can do about it so you can finally stop doing it so you can start losing weight again. I don't think I need to define carbs, but I'm going to do it anyway just to make sure we're all on the same page. So carbs can be broken up into three categories. You have your sugars, you have your starches, and you have your fiber. So the sugars are our most basic form of carbs. Now they can be found in foods like your sweets, your sodas, your candies, stuff like that, but they can also be found naturally in fruits and vegetables. Starches are our complex carbohydrates, and starches are many simple sugar molecules strung together. Now the starches are found in foods like breads, your rice, and your pasta, and with starches, our body needs to break them down into smaller molecules before we can actually use them for energy. Last but not least, we have our fiber. Now, fiber is just another form of complex carbohydrate. Now, unlike starch, fiber can't be broken, or at least most fibers can't be broken down within our body. So fiber is great to provide bulk to our diets. It's great to keep us full longer, which makes us less likely to overeat. Now, foods with fiber are foods like your fruits, your vegetables, your beans, and your whole grains. So carbs are one of the macronutrients that's almost impossible to avoid.
It's impossible.
And most Americans eat some form of carbs with each meal and snack. Matter of fact, most Americans eat upwards and over 250 grams of carbs per day, while the RDA, or the recommended dietary allowance, is only 130 grams per day. Back in the early 90s, when low-carb diets became popular and people would try them, people would notice that they would lose anywhere between 5 to 12 pounds within the first week or so. But if you've tried a low-carb diet, you already know what happens when you reintroduce carbs into your diet.
I tried my best.
You gain all the weight back that you lost, and most likely what most people notice is not only did they gain back the weight that they lost, but they even gained back a few extra pounds. So because people saw such quick weight loss when they stopped eating carbs, but they also saw such quick weight gain when they started eating carbs again, people just started blaming carbs for the weight gain because it was the one food that they ate the most often. It was the one food that when they stopped eating, they noticed such a quick weight loss, but it was also the one food that they noticed such a quick weight gain when they started eating again. But what most people don't realize is that for every gram of carbohydrate that you take in, your body takes in roughly 3 grams of water with it. Now, our bodies are made up of 60 to 70% water. So the majority of the weight, if not all the weight that you lose on a low carbohydrate diet, or at least the initial phases of the low carbohydrate diet, is water weight. And this is the main reason why these diets are not sustainable, because the majority of the cravings that come along with low carb diets, and if you have never gone on a low carb diet before, you haven't experienced this, but if you have, you've probably experienced the cravings that you feel at some point in a low carbohydrate diet. And this is, again, the reason why they're not sustainable, because the reason why you're feeling these cravings is your body's trying to get you to take in the carbs to regain or get your fluid levels back up. Remember earlier when I said that the average American eats well over 250 grams of carbs a day, while the RDA for carbs is only 130 grams. Do you remember that? Well, let's do the math. Now, every gram of carbs has 4 calories in it. So if we go with the RDA of 130 grams of carbs per day times 4 calories per gram, that gives us 520 calories per day from carbs. Now remember, the average American is eating well over 250 grams of carbs per day. Now, if we just go with the 250 number times 4 calories, the average American is eating about 1,000 calories per day from carbs. That's 480 calories per day more than what's recommended. And if you do that over the course of 7 days, you're having an extra over 3,000 calories per week just from carbs. Now, if we assume that most people aren't just eating carbs, they're eating a combination of carbs, protein, and fat.
Get in my belly!
And most people aren't just overeating carbs.
I ate far too much yesterday.
They're probably overeating at least one of those other macronutrients. They're probably overeating protein and carbs, or they're probably overeating fat and carbs. But either way, if we look at it that way, then most people are probably consuming or overeating enough calories to add up to an extra pound or 2 pounds of weight gain per week. So I'm about to tell you something about weight loss that you've probably heard time and time again, and you're probably sick and tired of hearing it, and you're ready for somebody to tell you something different. But if I told you something different, I'd be lying to you, and I'm not gonna lie to you.
What? That lying bastard.
So the reason why you're having a hard time losing weight or you're gaining weight is because you're eating more calories than you're burning. And it really is that simple. It's as simple as calories in versus calories out. Now, yes, I will agree that you could be eating too many carbs, and that's why you're gaining weight or having a hard time losing weight, but it's not the carbs. It's the fact that you're eating too many of them.
Maybe it's none of my business, but if you eat 3 pounds of steak every day, you're gonna die.
And look, if you eat too much fat, you're gonna gain weight. And the same thing goes for protein. If you eat too much protein, you're going to gain weight. If you eat too much of anything, you're going to gain weight. So let's stop looking for something to blame, and let's just admit it and be real that it's not the food, it's that we eat too much of it.
Fried food always seems to find my mouth.
I mean, even I can admit that there's certain foods that I am going to eat too much of, but it's not the food that's the problem. If I ate the right amount of the food, I wouldn't have an issue, and I don't have an issue with my weight. I'm just saying I eat too much of certain foods, and I can admit that I eat too much of those foods. And if I ate too much, I'd have a weight issue as well. So let's just be real. Let's just admit that it's not the food. It's that we eat too much of it. And even I can admit that there's certain foods that I eat too much of. So now that we know what the problem is, what do we do about it? And as I like to say, if you're not tracking, you're guessing. But like most people watching this video, you probably don't want to weigh and measure everything you eat. So the next best thing you can do is just eat a little less.
When you're used to the grease and the salt, healthy food is scary.
So you want to decide what and how much less you're going to eat. You want to decide which foods you're going to eat less of, how much of them you're going to eat less of, and just eat less. You want to make sure you weigh yourself at the beginning of the week, and you want to weigh yourself at the end of the week. And what you want to simply do is just see what that change made and keep changing and keep tweaking it and keep eating a little bit less until you get the desired weight loss that you're looking for. And if you need any help figuring this all out, click the first link below in the description, fill out the form, and you and I can work together to figure out how much less you need to eat and get your weight loss moving again.